Shalom, everyone. Today we'll learn how to calculate the time of the day, and especially as it applies to the last time to read the Shema, recite the Shema, and also the last time to say the Amidah. And like I mentioned before, it's also comparable to the Erev Pesach, the evening of the eve of Passover, where we're supposed to stop eating at the same time as the end of the Amidah. So it's an argument that's been going on for about 200 years, and you basically have to ask the rabbi according to which opinion do you go. So the time of Kriyat Shema lasts for the first 3 hours of the day, and the time of the Amidah for 4 hours. Hours refers to proportional hours. That is to say, the day is divided into 12 equal parts, and each part is called a proportional hour. In the summer, when the days are long, so are the hours, and in the winter, when the days are short, the hours are short too. If I remember correctly, the shortest halachic hour is 44 minutes, and the longest halachic hour is an hour and 20 minutes. So that's basically on how many hours of day we have. And so the question is, when do we begin to calculate the day? According to the Magen Avraham, who's one of the commentators of the Shulchan Aruch, the hours of the day are calculated according to the hours of light. In other words, the calculation begins from Amud Shachar, from what we call dawn, and lasts until total darkness. However, according to the Gra, Eliyahu of Vilna, known as the Gaon of Vilna of Vilnius in Lithuania, the calculation is based on the hours that the sun is visible, meaning from sunrise to sunset. So far, so good, because those are pretty good definitions of what we want to understand. So the time difference between Amud Shachar and Netz is approximately 72 minutes during the days of Nisan and Tishrei, the spring and fall. Thus, according to the Magen Avraham, we begin calculating the 3 hours of the time of Kriyat Shema 72 minutes before the time according to the Gra. Therefore, the last possible time to recite Kriyat Shema and the Amidah, according to the Magen Avraham, is earlier. However, it is not actual 72 minutes earlier, because every hour, according to the Magen Avraham, is longer, and that way it comes out that at the end of the 6 hours, we arrive at Chatzot, according to both calculations. So Chatzot literally means midday, and so tell me if you can see this screen. So these are the times for Washington, D.C., according to the website of Chabad.org, or one of the Chabad opinions. And so we start with Alot, which is Halachic dawn, and the sun is 16.1 degrees below the horizon. So that's 5:53 a.m. Alos, according to...
Can't see the other screen.
Rabbi Goldman?
Yes.
We can't.
We can't see the lower part of the screen.
When I switch between screens, it doesn't work. So that's why I asked. Okay. So can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is for Washington, D.C. Alot, meaning dawn of 16.1 degrees, is 5:53 a.m. And if you see, there's a difference of only 7 minutes between that and the 72 minutes. So even if it's 90 minutes, it's not 90 real minutes, it's 90 halachic minutes. And that's 72 minutes before sunrise. Mishiakir, when you can discern between a person who's your acquaintance but not very good friend, and also between the light blue and the white of the tzitzit. And that's the earliest time to start putting on talis and tefillin, and that's also the earliest time that we're supposed to start saying Shema. And Mishiakir Machmir, so that's the difference again of 7 minutes between 6:17 a.m. and 6:24 a.m. Then sunrise, and this can be also found in your local newspapers, is 7:12 a.m. And I think that nobody argues with this time, because this is something that is international. I think the law is that you're supposed to start, you're allowed to turn off your headlights at this point. And so now we go into these two opinions. Sof Zman Shema, according to the Magen Avraham, is 9:38, because that's 3 halachic hours after sunrise. At the very, very bottom, we'll see how the actual halachic hour is according to these two opinions. Sof Zman Shema, according to the Gra, is also 3 halachic hours, but that's after the other sunrise, and that's 10:14 a.m. Sof Zman Tefillah, last time to say Amida, according to Magen Avraham, which is more strict, is 10:50 a.m. And Sof Zman Tefillah, according to the Gra, which is more lenient, is 11:14 a.m. Chatzot, like they said in the introduction, midday is exactly in the middle because it doesn't matter if it's sunrise or Alot HaShachar, you end up at the same exact moment, which is 1:15 p.m. And only half an hour halachic hours after that are you allowed to start saying mincha. There's mincha gedola, mincha ketana, and plaga mincha, which means half the time between mincha ketana and sunset. So again, there's no argument between Magen Avraham and the Gra because it relates only to the morning, and the sunset is at 7:19 p.m. I would love it if tomorrow you can confirm this by what you looked at the newspaper or online. And now we have again another argument about what tzet is, which means tzet HaKochavim, when the stars come out. So according to one opinion, it's when 3 medium-sized stars are visible in the sky. That's what we use usually during the week for Maariv, but for Shabbat we are more stringent, and so we need to see 3 small-sized stars. Again, if it's a cloudy day, that's why you need to know in advance what time you should say Havdalah. And last but not least, 72 minutes of tzet is, according to Rabbeinu Tam, it's about half an hour from the regular tzet. So on Motzei Shabbat, if you don't have any plans to go to the movies or to a restaurant, my father-in-law who passed away always did Rabbeinu Tam, and he had his own minyan, so he could pray with those people. And they basically just went to Maariv half an hour later. They would either extend their Sudah Shlishit, the third meal, or just plan differently. So you could say Mincha Gedolah on Shabbat afternoon at 1:46 p.m. and then take a snooze for almost 7 hours and then go to Maariv according to this opinion. So that's how that works. So that's the day for today. And now just the measurement of how we calculate the length of each hour, each halachic hour. So Shah Zmanit, according to the Magen Avraham, is 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 36 seconds. And according to the Gra, it's 1 hour and 36 seconds. So you can see very clearly that the difference between them is only 12 minutes. Now let me see if I can pull up the other screen, which was about Fredericton, because on the what we call date and time in Fredericton. No, that's not it. There. So share screen. Bear with me, please. So they have here that sunrise is at 7:04 a.m. and then that's low. Anyway, at the bottom here, today is the 18th or the 19th. So solar noon, okay, that's what we want to look at. Solar noon, the time is 1:34 p.m., which actually calculates if we take the sunrise of 7:30 a.m. and until the daylight, which is 12:07 hours, and we divide that into 12, then of course that's 1 hour and about half a minute, and so 1:34 p.m. would be the solar noon. So all of these calculations, especially today that we have all these computers and everything, on the one hand, it makes our life easier. On the other hand, it gives us more responsibility to make sure that since we have the knowledge to calculate, we don't pray when we're not supposed to. And it's basically to say that we don't establish a minyan for mincha, for example, at 1:15 p.m. because 1:15 p.m. isn't even midday here in Fredericton. So that's why it's important to remember how to calculate the day, and again, ask your rabbi. I'm assuming it's Rabbi Herzfeld. If we go according to the Magen Avraham or the Gra, And of course, there are circumstances. So if a person needs to eat on one of the fast days, and the doctor says you're allowed to fast until midday, that's I think the most practical, because Thursday is going to be a fast day. And so if a person wants to fast until midday, they have to find out if we calculate according to the Magen Avraham and the Gra, and basically break the fast. I think according to the more stringent opinion, because it's just a 12 minutes difference. So I think that's why it's important to learn these things in order to know when is the earliest that we can start a minyan. If we want to have a set minyan, if Rabbi Herzfeld says that every single day we're going to pray at 7, we have to make sure that 7 is already sunrise, because in some places in the winter, 7 is still dark outside. I had friends in Spain, and I'll end with this, who were trying to start their day as tourists, and they weren't used to the fact that at 8:30 a.m. it was still pitch dark outside. The kids were already going to school and all that, and it was because of daylight saving time, which messed everything up. And so that's why we need to make decisions when we make the time for minyan, when is going to be appropriate for all year long. And in the Egyptian community that I prayed with, every single day was 1:15 for the afternoon prayer. But in the time of the summer, when it was slightly later, they would just gather at 1:15 and start saying Tehillim. And when the time came, that's when we started mincha. So again, these are all applicable to us because we have all these amazing calculations. And we'll stop with that. Oops, sorry, it's not what I meant to press.
So if we wanted to find what the calculations were